The story of David Beckham, from a dream to immortality. Indus. Childhood, youth, and the first steps in football. Every legend begins with a dream. But a dream is only a spark. A legend is the one who refuses to let it fade. The 2nd of May, 1975. London. Leytonstone. Ordinary streets, ordinary houses, an ordinary working-class family. This is where David Beckham was born, a boy destined to change football and the culture surrounding it. His family was not wealthy. His mother was a hairdresser. His father installed kitchens for a living. But their home held something far more valuable than money belief. David's father, Ted Beckham, lived for football. For him, Manchester United was not just a club, it was a religion. The stadium was a cathedral. The players were heroes. Young David grew up surrounded by old match tapes, posters of idols, and endless conversations about football. While other children played with toys, he played with a ball. While others dreamed, he planned. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't a natural-born prodigy. But he was obsessed. He played everywhere. On narrow streets between houses, on school playgrounds, on rough asphalt that tore the skin from his knees, in parks where backpacks became goalposts. He struck the ball again and again. When others grew tired, he kept going. At 11 years old came the first sign of fate. David won a football competition organized by Bobby Charlton. The prize was a trip to the United States. For a boy from London, it wasn't just a reward. It was confirmation. His dream was possible. At 14, he joined the Manchester United Academy. And that was where the romance ended. The competition was ruthless. Mistakes were unforgivable. The weak were discarded. It was there that David learned a truth that would define his life. Talent gives you a chance. Hard work gives you a future. Indus. The rise of a legend and the art of the free kick. Genius is not magic. Genius is discipline, multiplied by years of solitary work. Beckham's free kicks became legendary. But behind every perfect strike were thousands no one ever saw. When training ended, when the stadium emptied, when the lights went out, he stayed. Alone. A ball. A goal. Again and again, he placed the ball to the centimeter, imagined the defensive wall, picked a target in the net, struck it, missed, and struck it again. He analyzed every detail. The angle of approach, the position of his standing foot, the tilt of his body, the contact with the leather, even his breathing before the strike. This wasn't just technique. It was art refined into instinct. 1,996. A goal from the halfway line. The world spoke his name with disbelief for the first time. But the true test came in 1998. The World Cup. A red card. Hostile crowds. Savage headlines. Pressure capable of breaking grown men. He was booed. Blamed. Hated. He could have disappeared. He could have broken. He could have been lost. But he chose another path. Silence. Work. Redemption. 1,999. Manchester United win the treble. And Beckham stands at the very heart of it. He becomes more than a player. He becomes a symbol of character, self-control, and professionalism. Teammates respect him. Opponents fear him. The world recognizes him. Indus. This was only the first summit. Ahead lay conflicts, transfers, global fame, and painful falls. And another rebirth. Because true legends never end. They evolve. Indus. Part 3. Real Madrid, global fame, and the sex symbol of an era. 2003. The summer that changed everything. David Beckham leaves England. Leaves Manchester. Leaves the club where he became a legend. And steps into a world where mistakes are never forgiven. Real Madrid. Not just a team. An empire. Pressure magnified by glory. A stage where only the strongest survive. The Galacticos project was both dream and risk. Zidane, Ronaldo, Figo, Raul, Icons. Number ones. And among them, Beckham. Many called his transfer a marketing move. A face for magazine covers. A name to sell shirts. A symbol, not a warrior. Madrid answered quickly. Here, who you are off the pitch doesn't matter. Only one thing does. What you give to the team. Beckham adapts. He changes position. Accepts roles that aren't always comfortable. Runs more than players 10 years younger. Works when others stop. Respect doesn't come from his name. It comes from his attitude. He doesn't complain. Doesn't demand privileges. Doesn't hide behind status. Even when his contract nears its end, even when his future is uncertain, he plays every match, as if it were his last. Every minute, every sprint, every tackle. And fate rewards him. The 2006-2007 season. His final year in Madrid. A club in crisis. Conflicts. Relentless media pressure. And yet, in that moment, he becomes a key figure in the revival. Real Madrid win La Liga. A beautiful ending. A dignified conclusion to his European chapter. But, beyond the pitch, something even greater is happening. Beckham steps beyond football. He becomes a global style icon. Millions copy his hairstyles. Every change of image becomes news. Every public appearance sets a trend. He unites sport and fashion in a way no one had before. A footballer on the covers of glossy magazines. An athlete invited by the world's leading designers. His name is known even by those who have never watched a match. And beside him, Victoria. Their marriage becomes a media phenomenon. They are more than a couple. They are the symbol of an era. Together, they create a new reality, where sport, music, fashion, and entertainment merge. They become more than celebrities. They become a brand. And that brand isn't built on hype, but on discipline, control, and long-term vision. And Wiz. Part 4. Life after football. Club, legacy, and a new role. When many leave football, they disappear. When Beckham left, he began a new chapter. Retirement was not an ending. It was a transformation. No longer a player, an architect. David studied how football was changing, how new markets were growing, how sport was becoming global business. And he saw the future. The United States, a land of opportunity, a place where football was still rising. In 2018, Beckham launched his own football project, Inter Miami. Not just a club, an idea, a vision, an attempt to reshape an entire football culture. He takes on a role that demands as much resilience as playing ever did. Strategist, negotiator, leader, a man whose decisions shape the future. The club's path is difficult. Mistakes, criticism, pressure. But Beckham doesn't step back. He knows great projects are never built overnight. Today, his name is once again linked with a new era, with new possibilities, with belief in growth. Alongside this, he remains active in business, charity, and social initiatives. He supports young people, invests in the future, sets an example of responsibility, and he is also a father, a man passing on his values. Discipline, hard work, respect for the journey. Today, David Beckham is not just the past. He is the present. And he is the future. A footballer becomes a legend becomes a symbol. And a symbol becomes a legacy. Because true impact is not measured in trophies. It is measured by what remains after you. And Beckham's story is the story of a man who never stopped. David Beckham is not only perfectly bent free kicks, not just beautiful goals and roaring crowds. It is the story of a man who began with a fragile dream, one that could have been shattered by a single word of doubt, and yet survived criticism, failure, defeat, and moments when the world turned away. His path was never straight. It ran through hostile stadiums, destructive headlines, and pressure that stopped many others. Every mistake became a test. every bad match a mirror too painful to face. And yet, it was there in the silence after defeat that he made his choice. He proved that talent is only a spark given by fate. Success is the decision not to quit, to train when it hurts, to work when no one is watching, to return stronger when disappearing would be easier. His career is not a list of trophies. It is a sequence of choices. Not to run, not to hide, not to break. He failed. He fell. He paid the price. And each time he rose calmer, wiser, stronger. His name became a symbol not because he was perfect, but because he was real. A man who walked the path to the end. And today, his story is a reminder to anyone who doubts themselves. Legends are not a gift at birth. Legends are character. The choice to keep going when it's dark. The strength to believe when no one else does. Legends are not born. They are made. Step by step. Day by day. By the choices you make when no one applauds. That is how immortality is born.